back on track. So let me start again and say welcome. It is Monday, which means it's a brand new episode of New Start Monday Knits. I have got the 2 skeins of yarn to talk to you about that was in the Instagram polls this week. 2 really beautiful yarns. You guys had a hard job deciding which one I should cast on for this week. And I have some projects that have got some updates to show you, and some Fiber Friends projects to talk to you about. So I hope everybody has had a great week of knitting since we talked last. Today is Monday. It's Thanksgiving Monday here in Canada, so it's been a long weekend. Hi, Beth. And it's been just a lovely weekend. The weather has been great. A little rainy, but not too bad. You know, it was warm, absolutely warm, way warmer than it should be for this time of year. So it was nice. Got to do some hiking, enjoying the colors of the trees turning. Just a really nice Thanksgiving weekend. Hi, Katie. Oh, Daisy's even come. She's sitting on my lap now. Okay, so let's talk about the yarn that everybody was voting on today. This was a fun one, you guys, and it was a little tricky. Because there was, this one was pretty even. There was a couple times in the morning, twice when I checked the Instagram poll, it was a tied. A couple times throughout the morning, it was tied 50-50, and then one started to pull ahead. So let's see, the first one I talked about was this beautiful gray, black, white, isn't that fantastic? Songbird Fibers. One of her, can you see Daisy? There's a tail. One of her yarns was up on the Instagram poll a few weeks ago. Hi, Walter. And it was the sock yarn, the orange sock yarn, that snake and lizard eating sock yarn. Blah. Anyways, I don't know how I'm going to wear those socks. It's all I can think of every time I look at them. Anyways, Vicky dyed this beautiful colorway. It is a bulky, let's look at the tag. So it's a bulky 80% superwash merino, 20% nylon, 130 meters, which is 140 yards. And Canadian J, there it is, Canadian J. And you know what, when I purchased this, I was like, Canadian J, I've never even heard of that. We have a lot of blue jays around here, which are blue and gray, maybe white in there too. But this bird is actually farther north. Let me see. It says, making their home across almost all of Canada, these birds have regained their original English name of Canadian Jay from Grey Jay as of May 2018, also commonly called a whiskey jack from Indigenous Algonquin whiskey jack. So there's a different spelling, meaning mischievous spirit who plays tricks on people. Interesting. Most are non-migratory and will visit feeders for seeds or sewage. Interesting. I thought I had read this once and thought they lived farther north. I'm not sure. Anyways, I don't know. Have you guys heard of this bird? I'll have to do a little more investigating. My parents are much more bird people than I am, so I'll have to see if they have those. Anyways, really pretty. Okay, so that was yarn number 1. Yarn number 2. Now both of these came from my stash. So I went yarn shopping in my stash today. Went up and I kind of scanned the room and I'm like, ooh, what do I want? What weight do I want? I knew I wanted to do another hat, and this yarn was sitting on the shelf. This is one that Suzanne from Knit Stitch had dyed. And I remember walking in her shop and seeing it on the shelf and thinking, I really needed this. This was when, I think it was in Stratford. Her shop is, over the years, has moved from London to Stratford, and now she's back in London again. And I think this was on the shelf in Stratford. And yes, I know, finally I'm stash shopping. Well, I know, I needed to a little bit. I had kind of been purchasing more yarn for my New Start Mondays lately. And this coming, well, next weekend is the Fiber Festival in Paris. So, you know, I'm going to be buying yarn for New Start Monday while I'm there. So I thought I had better I had better stash shop, right? At least 1 week. So anyways, this is a one-of-a-kind colorway. It's a bulky, 100% superwash merino, and there is only 97 meters in here. So a little bit less, but still should be good for a hat. Yeah, so it is nice. They're both really, really nice. Sorry, I dropped this one. Anyways, did you guys all vote? Ready for the winner? This is where we need that pretend drum roll again. So after being tied 50-50 for a while, one of them inched ahead and ended up winning by a fair amount. And the winner of this week's New Start Monday poll is the yarn from Knit Stitch. So Suzanne dyes under the name Yarn Bird. That's confusing. Songbird and Yarn Bird. Isn't that pretty? So this is it, you guys. This is the one. Look at all those variations. Isn't that pretty? So this is the one that's going to get cast on tonight. Cannot wait. So yes, so as I was saying, this was in her shop in Stratford, and these are really not my colors, right? It's a little bit on the red side, which is not normal for me. I like orange, but there was something about this I really liked. So I'm guessing a bulky weight. I'm going to make a hat with it. I'm going to do a hat, do my gauge to garment process. I'm thinking I'm going to start it with a 5mm needle to do some ribbing, and then maybe go up to a 6mm. We'll see. Or maybe I might do go 4.5 and a 5.5. I knit loose, so I always have to go down a little bit smaller needle. So anyways, good voting, everybody. This, ooh, it would make a nice cowl too, wouldn't it? But I'm kind of in hat knitting mode. I'm really enjoying hat knitting. So this one, sorry, I feel bad for it. It's going back in the stash for till who knows when it will be recalled once again. Okay, so what have I been working on this week? A lot, quite a bit actually. So Thursday was the check-in with Jocelyn, and I did manage to get my projects to the point where I had wanted them to be, what I had proclaimed. I had to rewatch the earlier months video again, just to make sure I hadn't said I was, something crazy, like I was going to finish something. And I hadn't said I was going to finish. I had just said I was going to make good progress on my Wild Child shawl. So I didn't bring it over here to show it to you because I have been showing it to you every week for weeks on end. But it is really close to being finished. I did make a big boo-boo on it though, and I had to pull out like a whole day's worth of knitting. If I hadn't done that, it might have been finished. So but I made good progress. I've got reknit everything that I pulled out, so that's pretty good progress, plus a little bit more. My hat. I was so hoping I would have a hat finished, and I was going to wear it tonight, except it's pretty hot in here. I'm even just getting warm wearing this. It is close. It is close. My biggest little dilemma with this project is that I'm running out of yarn. I'm just started working the decreases, so I had to do a little fiddling. I pulled some back because it just wasn't long enough. Remember, this is that Karen Pantone, so they're all those worsted mini skeins, those 20-gram skeins, and there was 5 different shades. And this is, peacock blue. This is the colorway. And it is still for sale. I had said, I have seen it discounted and cleared out at Michael's, and they were clearing it out at our Lens Mills. But I was in a yarn shop in St. Mary's over the weekend and they still had lots of it for sale with a regular yarn. And someone else had told me that Yarn Canada is still carrying it on their website. So this yarn is still out there to be found. It's really nice to knit with. My plan with this was I used all of the first color in the ribbing, and I used approximately 10 grams to do 4 rounds of knitting. And then I started repeating the colors again. And it was almost to the top and I needed about another inch to go. So I did a little figuring out. I measured out my row gauge. I figured out how many more inches I needed this hat to be, figured out how many rows of my knitting that was going to need to be. Then I figured out my decreases for the crown of the hat to get the right number of rows. So it's just a little bit of fiddling. So now what I'm doing is I'm going to have to go back and knit all those teeny tiny little balls of these colors that were left over so I can finish the top of this hat. I was going to keep all these little bits because my hope, my idea is that once I finish a bunch of these different colorways into hats, I would take all these little bits and then I would just do a stripy, scrappy hat with all the little leftovers, kind of do a round of each color kind of thing, and have a hat at the end that had bits of all the hats that I have made, because these are all going to be Christmas hats. Anyways, that's not going to look like that's going to happen because I think I'm going to need every little bit of this to finish the top. And if I have to borrow from another ball, I guess I will to finish it because I'm going to have to finish it somehow. But it's really close. I have about 8 rounds left to go. And looking at my yarn, I may have to see if I have this in another ball. I was hoping one skein should have done. I'm not entirely sure why it didn't. So anyways, let me try it on. Totally, well, my hair's not, well, that's all right. It's because I'm going to mess up a good hair day, but no, I don't think so. So look at that. It is almost done. Almost done. And I don't know, I can't tell if you can see that or not. I have like that much more to go. That's my scientific way of looking at it. But look at that. I really am happy with it. I really like how it is. So, oh, okay, I have to read Amber's comment here. Anyways, I really like it. I really like how it's knitting up. I was hoping this pattern would work for a ball of that Karen Pantone, and then I would write the pattern for this yarn, but not now because it's not quite going to finish the hat. So I think I will now just have to go back to the drawing board, maybe use less color, maybe just use 3 colors or something. I don't know. Play with something and just we'll come up with a pattern eventually. But I like it. I like the stripes. I like the colors. It's fun. Oh, Jason was just teasing you saying the hat won't get done. Well, it'll be done next week. One way or the other. And now, especially now that I'm thinking that I know this yarn is in St. Mary's, I maybe will just have to go back there. If I don't, I have to look at my stash, see if I have more of this colorway, and maybe I can just finish it up with a few rows of navy on top. Navy on top and bottom. That would kind of look like it matched. Or would that scream she ran out of yarn? I don't know. Maybe yes, maybe no. Maybe that's just the way it's going to have to be. Anyways, prove him wrong. I can do that. I'm up for that challenge. So that was my hat. I'm really liking knitting it, and I'm definitely going to knit more. And I'm just going to call this one the prototype, and maybe I'll find some other yarn again. So that was that. What else do I care? What is this? Oh, this is my new start from last week. Yes. Okay, so last week was the Noro. 2 balls of the Noro, the light and the dark. And you guys, most of you all voted for the dark colors for fall and for winter. Some people had said, oh, go bright. You know, we need something bright and fun during the winter months, but the dark ended up winning out. This is the Noro sock yarn, Teo. I'm not sure exactly how you say it. It is spelled Taiyo. And it's like 50% cotton, 17 wool, 17 nylon, and 16 silk. So the wool, or the cotton and silk, that's what I want to say, and the nylon. It's pretty soft. Oh, Amber, you voted for the light? Well, I know. The light was fun too. Maybe I'll pull that out. Maybe it is meant to be more of a spring. Maybe it will be an end of March, beginning of April project. But I'm off to a good start. I am excited for this. So this has a little story with it too. Okay, I want you guys, well, do I? I was going to say, I want your honest opinion, but I'm kind of scared that I don't. And I'm not sure. This may be one of those examples of where I should be listening to my gut and listen to what it's saying. So I want you guys to let me know what you think about this. I'm off to a good start. This is the Hitchhiker. I think we talked about the Hitchhiker before, and a few people had said that they have, a lot of people have knit this pattern. If you haven't put this in your favorites in Ravelry, if you use Ravelry, I would highly suggest going and putting this in your favorites to knit at some point. If you have one skein of sock yarn, this is a really fun wearable pattern. It's a wearable shawl. It's an easy pattern to knit. It's an 8-row repeat. You get these really fun little points on it, and it's a good use of one ball of sock yarn. Now, the only thing is that she wrote, this is a Martina Bem pattern, and she wrote this that, oh, Valerie's saying, yes, she knows a lot of people who have loved it. Oh no, but did you hate every minute of making the Hitchhiker? Okay, well, okay. Everybody ignore Valerie because it's a great pattern. No, I'm teasing Valerie. Well, see, that's it. Some people, a lot of people have loved it, but you know, maybe it's not for everybody. So in that case, you just rip it out, save your yarn, and you find a different pattern, right? I have loved it. This is probably the 3rd time that I've made it, or, well, started it anyways. Okay, the yarn. So she wrote it for a sock yarn. The name is just, starts with a W. What's the name? Willamize, something like that. Anyways, it's a 150 gram ball. So the 150 grams gives you a nice length scarf, really. Shawlette. A small shawl that is like a scarf, right? The 150 grams, though, the extra 50 grams gives you a little extra length, which I like. It does work nice, though, for just 100, like a regular ball of sock yarn, 100 grams, 420 yards kind of thing. It will work fine for that. But having said that, I thought I'm going to go as big of a needle as I can to try to stretch my yarn out so I can get a little extra length, because if I can, I will. I would prefer that. The other times I've knitted, I've used Patton's Croy, and I have, so there, that comes in 50 gram balls. So I have used 3 50 gram balls to get my 150. So anyways, I went with a 4.5 millimeter needle, which is a US 7, so I could get a little extra yardage out of the yarn. I'm looking at it though, and I'm like, oh, is it too loose? And honestly, I keep going back and forth. I mean, that is pretty open, isn't it? But it feels nice. It feels like it has nice drape. So what is your thoughts? When you first look at that, is your first thought as well, it's too loose? Should I go down to a 4? But I like the feel of it. My thinking is I'm going to keep going. I'm going to keep going, and I'm going to wear it and see what I like. The reason I'm thinking that I'll still like it is because my lace shawl, the never-ending Wild Child shawl, it has got a really nice feel to it. Because it's lace, it's very open, it's very drapey, and I like the feel of that. Remember when I finished my orange Leo and Roxy, the Orange Crush, that's what it was called. I thought I was really enjoying that until I set it aside, started the Wild Child, and liked the feel of the lace. When I went back to the Orange Crush, I picked it up and I'm like, this feels a little tighter than I like. Like I feel like the drape of the lace. So that's what I'm going for on this, is to try to get that drape. Make sense? I think I'm going to keep going. And see. I feel like I'm changing. I'm feeling like I'm starting to like my knits a little bit looser. Before I always liked them fairly firm. So maybe I'm just going to embrace this, and I'm going to knit it all, wear it this winter, and really see what I think. I mean, we all know garter stitch stretches, right? If it's knit loose, then it will really grow, but it's a shawl, scarf, and I want the length. So this definitely, if this was a sweater, definitely way too loose for a sweater. But for a shawl, I'm wondering if it will work. I think so. I hope so. I'm going to try it, I think. Amber says, it's like people who enjoy sweater knitting. Oh, yes, you're not the biggest fan of sweaters. Well, that's right. Everybody has their own thing, don't they? You got to do what you like. And you don't know what you like until you find out what you don't like. And then that eliminates some things, right? So anyways, that's my story of the hitchhiker. I even put it into one of Rita's bags, getting ready for winter, which I hope doesn't come anytime super quick. That, my Wild Child shawl, that's pretty much what I've been knitting on. Oh, and I am working on sock number 2. I don't, oh, hold on, I can grab it. It's within arm's reach. I still haven't transferred it out of the beach bag. Okay, I've got conflicting bags going on. Beautiful winter scene and the beach. Still nice and warm today, so maybe the beach can hang on for another week or so. But look at this. Did I show you my finished sock? Ends all woven, like done, Kitchener stitched and everything. Can't remember where it was when we chatted last Monday, but it's done. And I've got a good start on sock number 2. Ribbing is all done, and I just started the stockinette on the leg. So finished pair of socks is coming soon. I would have liked to have had them done this weekend to wear to Paris to the Fiber Festival, but don't think that's gonna happen. But we'll see. Maybe. What else have I been doing? Fiber Friends Challenge. Our Try a New Craft Challenge. It started this weekend. It runs all week until next Sunday. So there's lots of time. If there has been a craft you have been thinking about wanting to try and you haven't, this is the time. Pull it out. If it's something that you have done, years ago and you've stuck it away somewhere and you want to pull it out and try it, this is your time to do so. And so I worked on 2 crafts over the weekend. The spinning I have done before, and Asa, Amber, sorry, I had to read Amber's comment. Asa will be surprised to see a finished sock. I know she will be, won't she? Everybody's probably surprised. Hi, Paula. Hey, Jocelyn. So this was what I was working on. I think it might have been Autumn's advice. She had this, super good idea that you should sit down and spin for 10 minutes a day. And I probably did more than 10 because once I got started, I just wanted to do a little more and a little more and a little more. And my spinning is kind of so-so, but you know what? It'll get better look at that. Yikes. there were spots where I just totally seemed to lose it, and it got really thick and thin again. And then there'd be other times when I could try and keep it thinner. I've kind of gave up on this because this whole bobbin is going to be kind of wonky. It's going to be it's still going to be called art yarn for sure. Even though I thought I had finally kind of found my rhythm, towards the end here, I was trying to make something that was more like a worsted weight, but then it got a little bit too thick. So anyways, it's just going to be my playing around. I will make this into something at some point.